Ladies and gentlemen, hello there and welcome to another edition of the Fightful Select 205 Live NXT UK recap show. I, of course, am Mr. Warren Hayes, and by golly gee, I'm really happy to be here. It's a little late in the week. It's Friday. I know most of you expect these on the Wednesday, but things happen. Sometimes, you just have to postpone, and you come back fresh, renewed, in full capacity to talk about the three top hours of programming that WWE offers us on a weekly basis. 205 Live, NXT UK, just in case you're not paying attention and you're wondering exactly what I'm going to be talking about here today, this evening, here on Friday, July 5th. We're going to be talking about the July 2nd episode of 205 Live and the July 3rd episodes of NXT and NXT UK. But before we do, of course, this is Fightful Select, so I'm sure that you're all taking advantage of all the great content here, such as Sean's excellent Fightful backstage report every Wednesday. Then you have Steven Jensen, who does the Weekender on the weekends, right? Right? Did you take, folks, the opportunity to have a gander at the retro pay-per-view podcast that Sean and I did for AWA Super Clash 3? Sean has hyped it up quite a bit, and I think it lives up to that hype. It was a lot of fun, not the show, but the podcast in itself. We had a good time doing it. It was, it was kind of crazy, to be perfectly honest. It was a lot of fun. So please take the time to go check it out. And all the other great content that you have here available on Fightful Select. Thank you very much for your support. Before we get into the shows themselves, there's a bit of news. Just a few things that we should be talking about. First and foremost, Chelsea Green returns from her broken wrist injury at an NXT live event earlier this week on June 29 in Venice, Florida. Chelsea Green made her return to the ring. She had been on the sidelines since March. She had suffered a broken wrist in a match against Jessie Elabon, and this was her first return, where she teamed with Deonna Purrazzo to take on Casey Catanzaro and Lacey Lane. So there you go. If you want to read a little more about it, well, of course, you can go find you can go find that article over on Fightful.com or FightfulWrestling.com. Your boy Jeremy Lambert has it covered for you. Other big news this week: we saw NXT champions, tag team champions, I should say, the Street Profits, show up on Raw this week. This was a big surprise. NXT tag team champions, the Street Profits, Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins, were shown backstage. Later in the episode, Ford and Dawkins did a backstage interview announcing their arrival to Raw. I don't know how I feel about this, considering that the Street Profits just got the NXT tag team titles, and they are definitely deserving of a run with them, a proper run. And this would be the second NXT tag team champions to be co-opted and brought up to main while holding the titles. Just recently, the War Machine, War Raiders, Viking War Raiders, the Viking Experience, the Viking Raiders, those guys, they were called up while they were champions, and then the titles had to be vacated. Is this going to be? They can't vacate the titles again, can they? No. Anyway, look, we said it before, we said it again. Montez Ford, he is prime. He is absolute prime main roster material. So it was just a question of time. But man, it's kind of weird that they're pulling this stuff off. Look, Jeremy Lambert again has the write-up over on Fightful.com if you want to read more about that as well. Paige, remember Paige? Do you remember Paige? Paige thinks her brothers Zach and Roy Beavis, I'm not sure what the last name is, how it's pronounced. should be signed. Anyway, she thinks her brother should be signed to the NXT UK brand. She's been doing some press rounds promoting the Fighting with My Family film that's about to be released on DVD and Blu-ray. And she said she was talking to Talk Sport, and she told the publication that she would like to do appearances in the NXT UK brand, and also throughout the idea that her brother Zach and Roy should be signed to the brand. And quote, I would definitely do appearances for NXT UK, but I just want my brothers to be a part of it, Zach and Roy. I just think the WWE are dropping the ball when it comes to my brothers, and I'm not just saying this, and I'm not just saying that being biased, but the movie came out, and they've got Elevation right now, great gimmicks, and could be in NXT UK in a heartbeat, and they wanted to do that. So Paige isn't always. She's been known to be very candid with her opinions. Not always. Not. I'm pretty sure this wasn't discussed necessarily with PR beforehand, especially when talking about they're dropping the ball on my brothers. You know, I think there's. I think it was some interesting insight. And finally, the full lineup for Evolve's 10th anniversary special is coming up. It's coming up on July 13, and the full lineup has been announced. It's going to be headlined with an NXT Championship match as Adam Cole will take on Akira Tozawa. The Evolve champion Austin Theory will be taking on WWN champion JD Drake in a winner-take-all match. We'll have either Austin 2 belts or JD 2 belts. JD 2 belts, if you were to ask me, has more of a ring to it. Rolls off the tongue easier. Eddie Kingston versus and Joe Gacy, the Evolve Tag Team Champions, will be taking on AR Fox and Leon Ruff. Catch Point reunion match, Matt Riddle is going to be taking on the WWE Cruiserweight Champion Drew Gulak in a solid match that I cannot wait to see. Anthony Henry versus Arturo Ruas from NXT is going to be there as well. Babatunde, another NXT superstar, versus Colby Corino is going to happen there. We're going to have a fatal four-way with Kurt Stallion, Sean Maluda, Stephen Wolf, and Harlem Bravado. And Josh Briggs is going to be taking on Anthony Green in a special attraction match. But that'll be fun. So that's going to be taking place on July 13. And if you remember, that is the same night, the same day, same night, same moment that AEW's Fight for the Fallen show is going to be taking place. Yeah. A lot of people have opinions about that, but we are going to move along and we're going to start talking about the shows. We are going to be talking about the shows. I want to say hello to Tim in the chat. You know, folks, I do these live. I do this recap show live. And if you want to come join the chat at any given moment, of course, as a Fightful Select member, you get to choose whenever you want to listen and join in on these podcasts. You can listen, you can watch. But if you're ever around on Wednesday nights, which is typically when I do them, 10 p.m. Eastern, come on over to youtube.com or on the follow the Patreon link, right? You go there, open up the YouTube link, and you come join us in the chat. It's a good time. 205 Live. The evening was booked, or not booked. Well, it was booked, but it was promoted as having a double main event, having a Tornado tag team match between the Lucha House Party and the Singh Bros, and then a six-man tag team match where Jack Gallagher, Oni Lorcan, and Tony Nese take on Mike Kanellis, Drew Gulak, and Arya Daivari. But first and foremost, let's get to this Tornado tag team match. Lucha House Party, represented by Grand Metalik and Lince Dorado, versus the Singh brothers, who are Bollywood winning actors. They're going a little too hard, if you ask me, on the Bollywood stuff. I know they used to be known as the Bollywood. That's fine. I get it. But they're leaning in a little too much on it, Coming out with the award, holding the award, I can get that. Coming out with a clapboard, though? Come on. So the match obviously starts off with some brawling, with everyone heading immediately to the floor. The Luchas take control, and they split each other up into teams, into duos, I should say. Metalik and Sunil on one end, and Lindsay and Sunir on the other. Metalik hits the Lucha arm drag and the springboard missile drop kick. The Lucha House Party followed with some double teams, like a nice wheelbarrow, a nice wheelbarrow from Metalik, picking up Lindsay and dumping him into a seated senton. That was really cool. Lindsay does his Lucha drop, just like his dead weight log drop, boom, and he covers for 2. The Sings, however, make a comeback, but Dorado fights back and hits a lion salt, covering for 2. More double team action from the Lucha House Party follows, taking Sunil down. The Luchas follow with double teams and get the cover, and cover for 2 as well. Sunil takes out Lindsay Dorado on the floor. Then Metalik, who's going up top, gets crotched on the top rope. And the Singh brothers then become in control. They follow up with double teams. Dorado is back, but he eats a spinning heel kick. There's some stomps to Metalik that follow. They post Dorado, who sells it fantastically. He just flies all the way. It was fantastic stuff. The Singhs work on Metalik, grounding him. They do some dancing. There's a lot of grandstanding. I get it that it's or at least they feel like it's a good way to get heel heat from the crowd. But honestly, it's a little pain. It's a little painful. They do they do a little too much of it during this match tonight. Got a little it slowed down the rhythm a bit. Again, I get it. The heels are supposed to slow things down, but come on. The Singhs hit a double team elbow drop. They cover for 2. They then do a double team top rope elbow drop over the knee backbreaker combination. They cover Grand Metalik, but Dorado breaks the pin attempt up. Metalik battles back. He hits a sling blade, but he gets tossed to the floor. Dorado gets back in with some strikes. Hurricane Rana connects, and he fights off both Sumir and Sunil. Drop kick follows, top rope cross body. He covers Sumir, and Sunil breaks the pin up. Dorado hits the golden rewind. Metalik gets back in, and the Lucha House Party hit double dives on either side of the ring on the Singh brothers, who are ostensibly, logically, if they're diving, on the outside. Springboard by Lucha House Party. Both members of the Lucha House Party do a springboard something. We're not quite sure what they're going for, because they both eat super kicks. And they both get pinned at the same time. The referee counts, scissor kick out at 2. Samir goes to the outside to grab the Bollywood award. But Kalisto, who was there with his partners, takes it away from Samir. That allows Dorado to get his super kicks in. A V driver by Metalik follows. And then simultaneously, there's a rope walk elbow drop by Metalik, followed by the shooting star press by Dorado that brings it all to a close. The Lucha House Party defeat the Singh brothers. I'm going to tell you one thing. I'm not sold on the Singh brothers right now. I was really, really excited for them to get back to wrestling, doing stuff, but I think they're a little slow. I think they're not. They're bringing the action in the ring, the speed that we're expecting from 205 Live. They bring it down a bit. I don't think they're there. I really don't. working with guys like Metalik and Dorado, who are two extremely solid workers, talented guys, they should be able to mix it up a little more. Haven't seen that pearl of that pearl of brilliance right now from the Singh brothers. I'm not quite sure exactly how much farther this is going to go. We'll see. Next, we get a Humberto Carrillo a video package. Yeah, just as a, and they're going hard on Carrillo, right? Who is, I just want to point this out just one last time. Like I talked about last week, Angel Garza, or Garza's Jr. now, as he's known in NXT. He's his cousin. They're related. They're all part of the same big wrestling family. Garza Jr. has such fantastic talent, and he is so naturally charismatic. He connects with the audience very, very easily. And this is Humberto's big problem, is that he doesn't have that connection yet with the audience. And I'm not sure video packages are what I'm not sure video packages are going to make it happen for him. I think he just lacks a little something natural. We have Mike Kanellis, who's being interviewed backstage. Of course, this comes off of the big announcement from Raw on Monday, where Maria's pregnant and where she can't believe Mike Kanellis got him pregnant, because she's very disappointed in him, doesn't quite think he's a man. Mike talks about his emotional roller coaster, but he's here under the orders of Drake Maverick, and he says Maria's not going to be at ringside with him because they are not talking. They are not on speaking terms right now. And she called him a disappointment. And Mike is disappointed, however, in Drake, because Drake kept him from the opportunities to win the Cruiserweight title and then enjoy it with his happy wife, everyone living a happily ever after scenario. Instead, Drake is off celebrating his honeymoon with his wife, his happy wife, right? And he says Drake is going to pay for what he did to his family. I kind of dig this. I think the angle could be interesting. I'm giving it the old wait and see, but I don't trust WWE creative enough to feel like they will be able to do something interesting that will also at the same time elevate Mike Kanellis' career. But we'll see. At least on 205 Live, I like the idea that Mike Kanellis is feuding with the general manager. I think that's fun. Six-man tag team match, Jack Gallagher, Oney Lorcan, and former Cruiserweight champion Tony Nese versus Mike Kanellis, Ariya Daivari, and current Cruiserweight champion Drew Gulak. And Nese and Gulak start this one off. And they stare each other down. But Kanellis tags in. And then Gallagher joins in because they've been feuding a bit. Then we see Maria Kanellis, who may not be down at the ring with Mike, but she is backstage watching on. She is taking a particular interest in this match. They lock up and work into counters. Mike follows with a shoulder tackle. Gallagher rolls into that Paradise Lock-like ball and then cradles Kanellis for two. Lorcan tags in and charges at Daivari, who bails. So he lays in the chops on old Mike Kanellis. Mike strikes back, and then Oney strikes back, then Mike strikes. Look, they're trading chops. Kudos to both these guys because they're going all in on those chops. Both of their chests are fire alarm red once they're done with that exchange. Kanellis lariats Oney Lorcan and covers him for two. Excuse me. Daivari tags in and works over Lorcan with strikes and kicks. Lorcan fires back. Gulak tags in They hit a double team suplex on Oni. Gulak covers him, but only gets 2. A headbutt follows by Gulak. He tags Kanellis back in, and he lays the boots to Oni Lorcan. Follows with a basement dropkick for 2. Daivari is back in, and Lorcan fights them off, and he tags Nese in, who is a house of fire. He lays in chops on Daivari, sweeps and covers old Arya, but only gets 2. Gallagher then attacks Mike, who was running interference. Nese goes for a springboard moonsault, but Gulak shoves him off the ropes, and Nese goes flying to the floor onto Gallagher and Kanellis and Daivari, who were all on the floor. And from this point on, folks, Tony Nese is your babyface in peril, pardon me, for the rest of this match. Gulak goes after Nese, brings him into the ring, covers him for 2. He grounds the action and maintains control of Nese. Nese hits a surprise crossbody, though, covers Gulak, but only gets 2. But Gulak follows up right after with a lariat and covers Nese, but again, only gets 2. Daivari tags in and hits a corner clothesline, some kicks, a stomp. Daivari grounds the action, cutting the champ off from reaching his corner. Starts elbowing him. Kanellis tags in, and he continues keeping Nese away from his pals. Nese blocks a suplex and reverses it into a cradle, but Kanellis kicks out at 2. Some ground and pound follows as Gulak tags in. He hits an elbow drop and covers Nese again for 2. Mike is back in, and Daivari joins them as the heels triple team Tony Nese. An avalanche in the corner, a super kick, and then Daivari hits an iconoclasm off the shoulders of Drew Gulak, covers, and the baby faces run in to break up the pin at 2. And everyone brawls. It's a schmoz, folks. A good old-fashioned American schmoz. Gulak is back with a spinning toe hold. He follows with kicks, but Nese hits a pump handle driver. And Lorcan finally tags in and starts brawling with his nemesis, Arya Daivari. Some uppercuts follow. He uppercuts Kanellis to the floor. More running strikes on Daivari. Running blockbuster by Oni Lorcan, and he covers Daivari, but only gets 2. Gallagher tags in, and he and Lorcan double team Daivari with strikes, ending with a headbutt drop. Don't do headbutt drops. Covers, but only gets 2. Gallagher takes him up top, but Kanellis drags him off. And that distraction allows Gulak to boot Gallagher to the floor. Lorcan lariats, then lariats Gulak to the floor. And Lorcan follows with a dive onto everyone. And then there's a high crossbody off the top rope by Daivari, followed by a Fosbury flop by Tony Nese, and Gallagher flies in with William the Umbrella off the top, the turnbuckle. All of this happening on the floor with the seated senton onto the pile of people. Ladies and gentlemen, bodies are everywhere, flying through the air, landing on the ground. That was a lot of fun. It was a good sequence. Back in the ring, Gallagher hits a flying headbutt. No, Jack. No flying headbutts. And I know you take it very differently, like you landed very differently, but Jack, no flying headbutts. He covers, but Gulak comes in to make the save, and Gulak tags in. Lorcan and Daivari brawl on the floor. Meanwhile, Gallagher rolls up Gulak for 2 as Lorcan and Daivari start fighting to the back. Gulak hits a pop-up flapjack on Gallagher, but Gallagher fights back with a headbutt of his own. Nese misses the 450 as Kanellis pulls Gulak out of the way. Kanellis then sneaks in. He's the legal man, by the way, and covers Nese for 2, but Nese finishes him off with the MK Ultra. But then, so the match is won by your baby faces. But as soon as the match is done, Gulak goes right for Nese. The faces all try to come in to help Nice, but the heels are beating the shit out of them. It's pandemonium. I really like this match. It was a lot of fun, tight stuff from everyone involved here. Nothing but great stuff. I'm going to tell you what I really liked on top of this is that it all worked to further all three of these mini feuds that we have here. Well, there's one feud that's for the cruiserweight title, so that's not mini by any stretch of the imagination. But you have Gallagher and Kanellis, who have a thing that started last week. You have Lorcan and Daivari, who've been going at it for the past few weeks. So I like this. This is very New Japan-esque kind of booking, where you have tag teams, tag matches, or where you have tag team matches or six-man tags where that include people who are feuding or potentially feuding, and they just go at it. And it adds a little more. I like this. This added more to their stories. It added another layer to everyone involved. The brawl at the end was a lot of fun. I dug this, and this is great in-ring storytelling. Just let the wrestlers tell the story in the ring. We get it. Kanellis and Gallagher don't like each other. Daivari and Orkin don't like each other. Gulak and Nice don't like each other. What else do I need to know? That's all I need to know. That's fantastic. Great stuff. Next, NXT started off with Mia Yim versus Aaliyah. You know what? I was thinking about this. Aaliyah's been in developmental since 2015. That's 4 years now. How long do you be? How do you do words? How put sentence together? What is verb tense? How long do you stay in developmental and not really improve in the ring? I mean, I'll be fair. Aaliyah has improved, but I feel like she's been stagnating for a while, as opposed to her look, as opposed to her character, her personality, how she's able to work the crowd. That has improved by spades. But her in-ring work is very, very flat now. And the match with Mia Yim was another glaring example of this. I find Vanessa Bourne is advancing much more in all categories. And Aaliyah she's a good character. She's a good act. But man, I don't know about wrestling. Anyway. Aaliyah starts off the match by mocking Yim. Yim grounds her, but Aaliyah reverses, grabs Yim's hair and slaps her around. And of course, Mia Yim, she doesn't quite care for that. She hits a shoulder tackle. There's this great spot where she starts trash talking Aaliyah while Aaliyah's she's on the ground, and Aaliyah comes to stand up, and Yim just sort of, just fakes out. Going for it, and Aaliyah just drops right back to the ground. And it looked really spontaneous. It was a good spot. She hits a drop kick on Aaliyah, but she misses the cannonball as Bourne pulls Aaliyah to the floor. Aaliyah gets back into the ring, covers Yim, but only gets 2. She hits a short arm boot to the face. Aaliyah slams her down by the hair and covers her again for 2. There's some kicks and a knee drop, kip up combo that follow, but Yim locks in the tarantula on Aaliyah, but she battles back with an enziguri, covers Yim, but only gets 2. Aaliyah starts working Yim's back. Yim avoids a knee drop, and she drop toe holds Aaliyah into the corner, finally hitting her cannonball. Yim follows with clotheslines, kicks, and a belly-to-belly throw. Aaliyah rolls out of the way. Suicide dive takes out both Bourne and Aaliyah. Back in, catches Aaliyah with a crossbody, hits a follow-away slam, and protect your neck. And there you have it. On her way out, Mia Yim, victorious, takes out Vanessa Bourne by shoving her into the steps, goes to commentary table and says, this is where Shayna comes and talks her shit. Well, I'm going to come talk as well. basically challenging Shayna Baszler to a match in an edited promo. You could tell there was a cut there. Next, we have highlights from the steel cage match from last week between Io Shirai and Shayna Baszler that ended with an attack on Candice LeRae. We tried to get a word in with Steve Regal, but the Forgotten Sons of Anarchy barge in to complain. They say Street Profits shouldn't be able to make title matches willy-nilly. You know, they shouldn't be able to do that. They want William Regal to make the matches. So make a match, Regal. But Regal says, you guys, you had a shot at the titles. You had the shot, and you got yourselves disqualified. So in my opinion, back to the end of the queue. Back to the end of the queue. I think I'm going to try and make that a thing now. Back to the end of the queue. And then Regal suggests a match between Danny Burch and Oney Lorcan. Not between, but Street Profits defending against Danny Burch and Oney Lorcan for next week. And I'll be cool. Next we have, okay, listen. These days, we're talking a lot about the 24/7 title skits, right? Which are fantastic. We're talking a lot about Firefly Funhouse, But I think that as of now, we need to seriously talk about Adam Cole's championship celebration, because, man, WWE has been killing it, absolutely killing it with their pre-taped segments these days. And this was fantastic. As it had been teased last week, Adam Cole visits Gargano's, the cafe owned and operated by Frank Gargano, Johnny Gargano's dad. And he comes in and Frank is wearing an NXT t-shirt. Cole had an order placed for pizzas, and he comes to pick him up. Frank goes to the back room or the kitchen to pick up the pizzas. And meanwhile, Cole takes an autographed picture of himself and pins it on the wall of fame of Gargano's. It's a gift. He thanks Frank for the pizza, and as he leaves, and he points out, what he did, that he put a picture there. And Frank just shakes his head and walks over, and he takes it down. Frank, you're biased, Frank. That's a gift right there. What do you get? You know what? I bet Frank Gargano, that slimy crumb ball, that scum bucket, I think he's going to go sell that on eBay. I think he's like, hey, I don't like this Adam Cole fella. I'm going to go put this on eBay. I'm going to make a pretty penny off his back. Yeah, I'm sure it's not just because he loves his son and he wants to protect his son's legacy. No, nothing like that. Jeez. If Adam Cole came into my digs here and put a picture of him like right there, with the signed autograph, I'd leave it there. Hell, I'd never move it. I'd paint around it. Anyway, Cole is bringing the pizzas to that wrestling school that Johnny Gargano visited while he was doing his championship tour, right? And this is where the segment becomes absolutely fantastic. He comes in and he says, "Look, I just like a little bit of your time." Brings the pizzas in. He's got the NXT title strapped over his shoulder. And he says, "I know that you guys here, you love Johnny Gargano." And he brings up, the fact that he was there recently. Says, Johnny told you guys that one day, if you guys work really, really hard, you could become NXT champion. And Adam Cole says that Johnny Gargano's full of shit. And I can say shit behind the paywall. But he said basically that he got lucky, and his visit to the school here made Adam Cole feel sad because he put all these ideas into these wrestlers' head that they could do anything, and he starts singling out Twan. Twan was the guy, who got all teary-eyed when he had the NXT title on his shoulder, right? The big dude. And he singles him out and he says, Twan, do you think that you could be NXT champion? Twan says, yes, I can. And Adam Cole says, don't kid yourself. That was so good. Cole says that they'll never get to where he is. And he tells them that they should take the pizza, go sit on the couch at home, eat it, and give up. And his final advice is to get out of the school. And he lifts 3 fingers. He goes, get out of the school, get out of that city, and find a new hero. And look at that. He exactly does this, which is the E of the Undisputed Era hand signal. God damn, that was so good. It was such a good segment. I really hope they have more of these Adam Cole championship celebration things where he can just be an asshole to people. That was fantastic. Next we have, and as Tim says in the chat, that's good shit, pal. And it was. Kushida versus Jeff Parker is next. Jeff Parker from the are they still a tag team 3.0? I don't know. They're both in NXT, but we haven't seen them together. Like how, Kushida's entrance has a countdown, right? And it goes 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And as everything went dark, you heard one guy in full sail scream out, break the walls down. Oh. This was essentially a showcase match for Kushida, who takes control right away, easily out wrestles Parker in this one. Handspring back elbows. He keeps most of the match grounded. Kushida heats the cartwheel drop kick, the fastball right, and the hoverboard lock for the finish. I think it's it's fine that they continue to build Kushida that way. He had a nice little 2-match sequence with the Drew Gulak, but man, we need Kushida to sink his teeth into something. And he's starting to get into Keith Lee territory here, where they keep giving him like these softball matches. They put him over as the Japanese ace. Well, come on, let him do his thing. There's a quick backstage segment with Tyler Breeze saying that this place was NX Breeze way before the Undisputed Era were there. And we get another Killian Dane vignette. And that leads us into the next match of the Breakout Tournament, where Isaiah Swerve Scott, the man formerly known as Shane Strickland, took on Cameron Grimes, man previously known as Trevor Lee. This was a fun match. They lock up again. They lock up and work the mat some back and forth between the both of them. Scott maintains the offense, rolling through escape attempts from Grimes, who's trying to get out of his holds, but he's maintaining them, him being Scott. But Grimes attacks with strikes to Scott's back, and that allows him to take control. But Scott counters with a head scissors. He kips up, hits a drop kick. Snapmare by Scott follows. A second rope elbow connects. He covers Grimes, but only gets 2. Grimes then picks him up, slams him down, gets some knee strikes in. Grimes crushes Scott's face under his foot, which I liked. Gets him in a neck crank, followed up by a big ass lariat. He covers Scott, but only gets 2. He starts bending back Swerve's arm. Scott gets back to his feet. Grimes goes up top, and Swerve just pops up and lands a hurricane run out of nowhere. There's some strikes and clotheslines that follows. Grimes dumps him to the floor, but Scott lands on his feet. Grimes rolls out after him. A spinning slingshot body press lands right on Grimes' face. That looked nasty. He hits a rolling flatliner, covers Grimes for 2. Grimes avoids Scott coming off the top rope, hits a deadlift sit-out powerbomb and covers Swerve for 2. Grimes hits a... Nigel called it a Superman forearm. I don't know if it was meant to be a Superman punch, but yeah, it landed a little awkwardly, but nothing too serious. Isaiah Scott fights back with a running kick. Grimes rolls to the outside, and Swerve hits a Fosbury flop onto Grimes, and it is at this point where Morrow says, "Great Scott, what a move!" And I was wondering how long it was going to take Mauro Ranallo before saying "Great Scott" in this match. And we're pretty much towards the end here. So good on you, Morrow, for being able to keep it in that long. I would have burned through that 2 or 3 times during this match because I am a lesser man. We're back in and they trade some strikes. But Grimes hits his follow-away moonsault slam and hits a running double stomp to finish the match and advance in the tournament, the breakout tournament, where the winner will gets a chance at whatever NXT title they want. Cameron Grimes. I am digging this tournament. I knew I would, and it is living up to what it should be. Bianca Belair defeated Priscilla Zuniga. And look, this is an extended squash for your girl here. And it is look, she just wailed on Zuniga. Like, she forearmed the crap out of her. She being Bianca, of course. She tosses her around the ring, hits shoulder tackles. She counters a Hurricane Rana with 2 power bombs and then a buckle bomb and hits the KOD to finish it. And what was good here, look, Bianca needed this. She needed a strong, definitive win here because she has lost to Shayna Baszler. She's lost to Mia Yim. She needed to come in looking like the powerhouse she is, the aggressive powerhouse that she is. And that's exactly what they did with her in this match. That's exactly what she did. She looked fantastic. This is exactly what was needed. Doctor's orders to get Bianca Belair back on track. I liked it. We get a Matt Riddle training video. Do we need this? Do we need? I don't know. It felt a little off. It felt a little strange. I mean, I get it that they want to do vignettes to keep their guys on TV when they're not wrestling. I get it. But this seemed it seemed a little off. I feel like they should be they should be making Matt Riddle's personality come across a little more than like, yeah, I'm training all sorts of forms of martial arts, jiu-jitsu, MMA, so on, other types of fighting styles that Warren doesn't know about. That was fantastic stuff. By the way, just as a quick note here, Priscilla Zuniga was Diamante in Impact LAX, right? Forgot to mention that. Roderick Strong versus Tyler Breeze is our main event. Roddy grounds the action early on here. Breeze counters out up to his feet. He tries to work Roderick's arm, but Roderick avoids it. Breeze counters out of some good ground game and connects with a neck breaker. Gets some boots in onto old Strong, but Strong sucker punches him and follows in with some chops. Breeze fights back with a drop kick. He dumps Breeze to the floor. Breeze avoids a wrecking ball drop kick, and they brawl on the floor, which leads to Roderick Strong hitting a vile backbreaker against the edge of the steel steps. Ooh, that did not look good. Ooh. And then he backbreakers him against the barricade. At least the barricade has the padding. Holy shit. Back in, Roddy boots Breeze some more. Breeze fires back, but Strong hits a drop kick and covers Breeze, but only gets 2. Strong then goes for a Romero special, but it didn't quite end up being a Romero special. It was weird. I feel like something went a little wrong there. But Tyler Breeze escapes with a back elbow. He hits a jawbreaker, a right hand follows, and an enziguri, and that sends Roderick Strong to the floor. There's a flying forearm off the apron and to the floor. And then Breeze gets Strong back into the ring, hits a single arm backstabber, and covers Strong for 2. That was really neat. Breeze goes up top. There's some shenanigans that occur that ends with Roderick Strong hitting a superplex, covering Breeze, but only getting to you. I don't know why I'm talking like this all of a sudden. I don't know why. Sorry about that. Breeze, I sort of slipped into a character. I don't know. Breeze fights off the stronghold with some kicks and an enziguri. Breeze slingshots, but Strong catches him into a fireman's carry, but Breeze slips out of the fireman's carry and hits a super kick, covers Strong, but only gets 2. Breeze then tries to go for the unprettier. Roderick Strong counters out of it, and they trade some strikes. Enziguri again by Breeze drops your boy Strong to the mat. Breeze heads up top, and as if on cue, the lads arrive, Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish, to distract Tyler Breeze, and that distraction is just enough to allow Roderick Strong to hit the end of Heartache for the win. The right man went over here because they are clearly positioning Roderick Strong for a North American title shot, which I think is perfect for him. He is one of the unsung workhorses of all of WWE. His work has been stellar. Ever since he has joined NXT, he has been one of the brand's most consistently great performers. So it was okay for him to go over here. However, you kind of want Tyler Breeze to win some matches, right? You kind of want him to pull off the big wins. You know, losing against Roderick Strong in this context, it's a bit of a pill to swallow. He lost against Velveteen Dream on his comeback. One of the reasons, everyone was kind of pissed off, they weren't having Tyler Breeze wrestle anymore for a while. But then when he had him wrestling again, they were treating him as a jobber. So we kind of don't want to go back to that, right? Right? And I think that if they want, if we're supposed to care about Tyler Breeze being back in NXT, well, Tyler Breeze has to establish himself as a force. But then again, there are some spoilers coming up that I'm half aware of. But this is a spoiler-free show. But at least this is my commentary as to where we are right now on NXT TV. So fun show. I thought it was a well-balanced show. I thought even the squash matches had purpose. I like it. I like this edition of NXT. Let's move on to NXT UK then. Starts off with a video package retracing the Grizzled Young Veterans win, or championship run, I should say, that they won the titles back in January at TakeOver Blackpool. Now they've been going forward since. And now we are here tonight where they are taking on Mustache Mountain in our main event. But before that, we have Piper Niven versus Rhea Ripley. I do believe this is Ripley's first match, or this was Ripley's first match since returning from since her injury. She cuts a promo as she comes to the ring where she's like, no, let's have this match now. It's scheduled for later, but I want to do it now. Okay, whatever you say. That the show just started, so whenever, I don't mind. You can do it whenever. I still want to see this match. So Niven comes out and she hits the ring running, and they brawl to start. Ripley lays the boots to Niven. Niven surprises her, though, surprises Ripley with a running crossbody, and she dumps her to the floor. Ripley rope hangs Niven and drags her out, slams her onto the apron. Niven tries to slam Ripley, but she slides out and sends Piper Niven into the turnbuckle post. She gets her back. She gets Niven back in and covers her for one. Ripley brawls some more, stomping Niven in the corner. Niven tries to roll up Ripley for one. Ripley covers her down. Clotheslines her down and locks in a body scissors. She starts delivering some forearms to Niven's back. Niven eventually gets out, but it eats a drop kick. And Niven takes advantage of some showboating by Rhea Ripley to hit a hesitation drop kick. She heads up top, but Ripley slams her back down to the mat, covering her for two. Then Rhea locks in that standing clover leaf, but eventually Piper Niven does reach the ropes. Ripley slaps her around a bit, talks some crap, some jaw jacking, but that gets yeah girl Piper fired up, and she hits a Saito suplex on Piper Niven. They trade short arm clotheslines with each other in a really fun segment. There was even a little spinning rainmaker attempt there as well. Niven blocks the riptide, and there's a headbutt that follows. Ripley misses a charge. She posts herself, and that allows Piper Niven to hit the cannonball and the Michinoku driver, or the Sabre driver, depending on your point of view, to win the match. Congratulations, Piper Niven. I'm a bit bummed. Gotta tell you, I'm a little bit bummed because this had the potential to be a money match, a big match for the women's division, and yeah, I wouldn't have had a resolution here. Not a clean resolution. Would have had these ladies stretch this one out a little bit. Have Ripley win by very nefarious ways, or at least have Ripley beat the shit out of Niven after the match or something. But this is closure that we didn't need, and I don't think it helps Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley looking better and better in the ring all the time. Piper Niven is fantastic, but you could feel like they were holding back. Lacked some urgency, like some pace. I get it. They're two powerhouses, two big women in WWE. When they have their big wrestlers together, it's like big power moves and then rests and so when the power moves connect, everyone's like, ooh. But there's so much more, especially to Piper. There's so much more to her than just like being a big powerhouse. She's so versatile. And Rhea Ripley, well, maybe they were going slow because, like I said, I'm pretty sure this was Ripley's return. Maybe not her first match, but her first TV match, because I think she did some stuff at NXT live events. But yeah, it missed a spark here, and I really feel like if this was the blow off, man. Look, fingers crossed that they might do something, that they might go forward with this 2 out of 3 or whatever. Next, we have Alexander Wolf having his first NXT UK match since joining Imperium versus Jack Stars. Look, I'm going to tell you, I'm not sure I'm down with all the members of Imperium using Symphonie du Nouveau Monde which is basically, Walter's entrance theme, because I think it's so much part of Walter. It's part of who he is. They could have had some kind of other classical march, ominous, maybe some military, like a military march or something. I don't know. But anyway, it's a minor gripe. Vic on commentary says that Wolf has found his sanity once again after joining Imperium. A wink, wink, and nudge, nudge. Jack Stars is clearly the Imperium whipping boy at this point because he fought Walter at Walter's first match in NXT UK. Now Alexander Wolf. Look, this was an extended squash match for Wolf. Looked good. He was fine. It's kind of odd to see him in not in torn up jeans and whatnot. But Wolf got a lot of offense in, of course. He had a very nice Death Valley driver on Stars and finished him off with a sit-out powerbomb. Honestly, if Wolf's Death Valley driver is always that tight and clean, that should be his finisher. It seems to me everyone is using the sit-out powerbomb, not necessarily as a finisher. I just see the sit-out powerbomb like dozens of times in a week. But good on Alexander Wolf for his win and for coming back to NXT. Well, not coming back, but joining NXT UK. Hope it works out well for him. We see the Gallus boys backstage talking about facing the Hunt and Dave Mastiff next week in a 6-man tag team match. You know what? That's probably going to be a slappy, slap, happy, fun time. That's your official Warren Hayes prediction right there. And Tony Storm is having a match next week too, we've learned. Another squash match happened for Jazzy Gabert. Jeez, Jazzy Gabbert. Versus in a handicap match against Danny Luna and Mercedes Blaze. What's wrong with me? So Gabbert in a handicap match. Of course, Ginny is at ringside for her. And they're going in establishing that Gabbert is a monster that just can't be stopped, right? That's what they want to do. That's what happened here. She just completely destroyed Luna. I think it was Luna, her first opponent, right? Leveling her with slams. She hit an avalanche in the corner. Look, this all came to an end with a Dominator. and it looks good on Gabbert. Why do I have so much difficulty saying her last name? Yeah, the Dominator looks good on her. It's a good finisher for her. Good choice. Next, we had an interview with Cassius Ohno. God, Cassius Ohno is such a bright spot on NXT UK right now. It's ridiculous. His work is so good. His character work and his ring work, just pristine stuff. And he says that NXT UK is in a state of emergency. He says that he's here to protect the integrity of British wrestling. And he starts talking about the founding 5 members of NXT UK, right? British Strong Style. That's 3 guys. Wolfgang, right? And then Mark Andrews. And he says Andrews isn't an authentic British wrestler. You know, when he throws, he says about Andrews, he says when he throws a super kick, he's thinking about Shawn Michaels. When instead of thinking about the real pioneer of the super kick, who is gentleman Chris Adams, famous, legendary British wrestler. He says Andrews has forgotten about the integrity of British wrestling. Andrews is a disappointment. And Cassius Ohno is the best British wrestler in the world. God, I love this gimmick so much. Oh, it's so good. And it fits an encyclopedia of wrestling like Cassius Ohno, Chris Hero, whatever you want to call him. Because that guy is legit brilliant when it comes to wrestling. He's just got tons of knowledge. So it just fits him so well. I hope he beats the tar out of Mark Andrews. No, I think they're going to start building Mark Andrews up to a bigger baby face. Next comes our main event, Mustache Mountain, and they're coming out to the Tyler Bate theme, excuse me, as opposed to the superior Trent Seven one versus champions Zach Gibson and James Drake, grizzled young veterans. Bate and Gibson lock up to start. Bate counters out of counters out of Gibson's wrist lock, hits a drop kick. Drake tags in, but Bate hits a hip toss and an arm drag, and he tags in Trent Seven. Mustache Mountain do their slam rolling senton off of Seven's shoulders. Anyway, these are the types of moves that I feel like sometimes they should just name them. They just name the move, give it a name, so that I don't have to stutter through trying to explain it to y'all. You know what I mean? Drake fires back with a shoulder tackle. Seven hits a running crossbody though, and Gibson stalls the action. He tags in, and Seven follows up with them chops. Ooh. Gibson avoids the fake out into the DDT, but eats a chop instead. The suplex by Seven follows. He covers Gibson, but only gets two. Drake tags in and hits a drop kick off of Gibson's back. And Seven, as in Trent Seven, is your babyface in peril. There's some Gibson lays the boots to Trent Seven and then dumps him to the floor. Gibson tags in, and they do their double team slingshot knee off the apron onto a backbreaker on the floor. There's another move that needs a name. They roll Seven back into the ring, cover him, and only get two. More double teams follow. Drake grounds Trent Seven and starts striking him. Seven whips him into the turnbuckles, though. Gibson gets tagged in, and Seven hits the back fist to tag in Tyler Bate, and Tyler Bate is a house of fire. The flying uppercut on Gibson follows a drop kick. Bate catches a charging Gibson with an exploder suplex. Standing shooting star press follows, covers Gibson, but only gets two. The Tyler Driver 98 is blocked by Mr. James Drake, but that doesn't keep Tyler Bate from hitting a double Hurricane Rana at the same time on both of the tag team champions, followed by a Tope con Hilo onto the Grizzled Young Veterans who are on the floor. Double team powerbomb follow, and in the ring on Zach Gibson. Drake is distracting the ref long enough for the referee to just not realize that there's a pin happening, but when he does, counts to two. Gibson kicks out. Seven gets back in. There's a double team that's countered with a series of double teams by the champs, right? Like a super kick into a neck breaker combination on Tyler Bate. Gibson hits a DDT on Seven. And Zach Gibson then ties Seven up. Figure four. What he does here, he ties him up. All right, check this out. He ties Seven up with he figure fours the legs, then starts pulling back on the arms, right? James Drake runs the ropes and then leg drops Seven's right on the back of his neck. So his neck Seven is being pulled back like this because Gibson is pulling on his arms. And that was nice shit. I like that. It looked like it hurt. Seven gets covered, and he kicks out at 2.9. Drake talks some shit and follows with some strikes. Seven fires up, hits the 7-star lariat, and Bate gets the tag in. Bate comes in with some strikes. Gibson tags in then, and the champions corner Bate. There's a drop kick by Drake that occurs. Drake goes up top, but Seven pushes him off. Bate cradles Gibson for two. There's some top rope shenanigans that occur. Meanwhile, James Drake is getting slammed onto the mat by Seven. He then, he being Seven, picks Gibson up into a torture rack position. Bate jumps off the torture rack jumps off the torture rack to Gibson, I should say, onto Drake with the diving headbutt. No diving headbutt. 7 hits the burning hammer on Gibson onto Drake. He covers Gibson, who kicks out at 2.9. And 7 is livid. He does not know what he needs to do to put these guys away. But Imperium hit the ring. Barter and Bartel and Wolf get in. Well, look, they beat up on Mustache Mountain. Grizzled Young Veterans, they disappear. We don't know what happened to them. They hit the bricks. Bartel and Wolf handcuff Trent Seven as the audience chants Walter's bitches to them. They force Trent Seven to watch Walter powerbomb Tyler Bate repeatedly on the apron and then powerbombing against the post. They just beat the shit out of Tyler Bate. Wolf has the key to the handcuffs. He tosses him into the audience. And 7 is so the Imperium guys, they all line up to do their thing, to do their pose. 7, you can hear Trent 7 calling out to Tyler Bate. There's a shot of Tyler Bate. Tyler Bate is dead. This was a fun angle. Look, this was a fun match to begin with. Again, I think that, look, I think it was a smart move to keep the titles on Grizzled Young Veterans a little more. They've had one major defense, right? Kenny Williams and Amir Jordan. Wasn't that like their only real big defense? You know, for guys who've held the title since January, that's not all that impressive. So I think it's good. Let's stretch this out a little more. Let's give them a little more to do. Establish because they're a good team and they're good heels and they're fantastic. So why not drag this out a little bit? And this again cements the fact that Imperium are bastards, just like grade A European bastards. I loved the angle here. I thought it was fantastic. And it's good for Imperium. It's good for Mustache Mountain. The British strong style Imperium feud rages on. And you know what? Your boy Warren is okay with that. I'm looking forward to more of it. This angle is Imperium is a tip-top heel faction. It is so good. They're being booked perfectly. You want to build a strong team, a strong heel faction. This is what you do to get it done. Yeah, I overran a bit, but it was worth it. There was a lot of talk. There was a lot to talk about, and I didn't want to skimp over the big matches. Fun 3 shows, guys and gals. You have to check this out this week. Take the time to digest 205 Live NXT UK this week. Lots of great stuff from top to bottom. But if you're really strapped for time, get your Mustache Mountain GSV match in. Check out the breakout tournament with Swerve Scott and Cameron Grimes, and make sure you see the main event of 205 Live: Gallagher, Lorcan, and Nice versus Canellis Davari and Gulak. That was good stuff, guys, gals. I want to thank you all so much for watching. I want to thank you if you joined us in the chat. I want to thank you if whenever you watch or listen to this on your own. Thank you also for supporting Fightful Select. Your support means so much to everyone here at Fightful because without your support, we couldn't do half of what we're doing right now. But we do appreciate it. Thank you all, everyone, for joining me this evening, and I'll see you next week on Wednesday. Bye-bye.